Hello everyone. So today I want to introduce you to the wonderful author Cynthia Terelst. Have I pronounced your surname correctly?
You got it right.
That's brilliant. Hello Cynthia. It's wonderful to have you. Thank you for joining us all the way from Australia. So Cynthia is a contemporary romance author and a young adult author. And you can find her writing under the same name for both genres, a woman after my own heart. She lives in Queensland, Australia, and her books are set there too. She has 2 cats, Possum and Kimmy, and she also fosters kittens. So it's wonderful to have you here with us today, Cynthia. Thank you.
Thank you.
So today I want to talk to you a little bit about your thoughts and beliefs around love and why, as a contemporary romance author, you write about love. Because writing a book is quite a commitment, isn't it?
Sure is. It's a big commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and effort, no matter what genre you're writing in, to write a book from start to finish, edit it and publish it. So it's the same amount of effort no matter what genre you're in.
That's true, isn't it? Yes. Right, so we're very interested to hear your thoughts around love and why you write about it.
Yes, love is one of the purest emotions. It surrounds us in our everyday world.
Mm-hmm.
There's all different types of love for your children, love for a partner, love for animals.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's such a core emotion, I think it's important to write about it.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. I actually saw an interview not very long ago that Oprah Winfrey did with J.K. Rowling. She asked her about love. She said, do you think it's important to write about love? And J.K. Rowling said, it is the most powerful emotion there is.
Oh, yes, I would agree. Even in Harry Potter, they talk about love. And it's not just romantic love, it's love between friends and that bond that they have. So, yes, it is an important emotion and probably the most important.
Right, exactly. So what are your beliefs around love that you feel are important that comes out in your writing?
So I believe that when you love someone or you're in a relationship with someone, that you both complement each other. It's not just about one person being superior to the other. You are equals and you bring out the best in each other. And even if you bring out the worst in each other, then you work through that to make that not so negative anymore and you build yourselves up.
Right. And those are the themes that you use in your books?
Yes, so in The Cats Out of the Bag, we deal with Jessie and Evie. And Evie has had a previous relationship. It was a long-term relationship where she was abused. So she's recreated herself now and she is resistant to love. She doesn't want to be hurt again. She's not just emotionally scarred, she was physically scarred as well. So it's learning to trust again and let someone in and let them show you that love is possible.
And that's very hard sometimes for people, isn't it? It's very difficult when you've been hurt to trust again, to open yourself up again. Because it's almost like once you love somebody, especially in a romantic way, but also in other ways. You mentioned earlier friendship and love between parents, children and parents. If you've been hurt really badly, it's really hard because it feels like the other person is almost holding your life in their hands a little bit.
Oh, yes. Loving someone, giving that to someone holds so much power. They can destroy you in just a moment. Their actions can destroy you forever. Or in the opposite way, they can build you up forever and help you live.
Yes, you're right. If you find the right person or you have a supportive family around you, then you can soar in the world. It does do amazing things for you. It builds you up and helps you with self-confidence. And I think people who come from good homes or homes where they were loved, unconditionally loved, can achieve so much more in the world because they're fearless.
I agree, yes, because they've always had that backing. They believe that they can do anything.
So can you tell us a little bit about the kind of relationships that people have in your books. You've mentioned a little bit about, someone had a bad relationship and then trying to find love again. Is this a theme that is through your books, or is it just one book, or is it in a series? How do you write?
Okay, so my books are in a series, but they are not connected. They're all standalone novels.
Right.
So I like to deal with real-world issues in my books.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first book, I deal with domestic violence. It's not so much on the page, but we see what effect it has had on her and how she puts herself out into the world.
Right.
And the second book deals with loss. So Tara's brother has died from a drug overdose, and she feels it difficult to connect with people after that for fear of losing them as well.
Yeah, those are very important themes, aren't they? And this is why I'm fascinated to talk to romance authors, particularly because I find people who don't necessarily read romance novels think that it's fluffy and light. And there are those, of course, as well. But
Yes.
I think a lot of romance novels deal with far more serious, deeper issues. Is that one of the reasons you want to write about real life issues?
Absolutely. I want my writing, people to relate to my writing, people to say, oh, yes, that's happened in my life, or yes, I know people who have gone through that. And because there is a happy ever after at the end of a romance novel, they can see that you can get through anything in life and be able to find love and live happily ever after.
True, yes, that's a wonderful message, isn't it, to bring to the world. Do you think that that is partly why romance novels are so popular? Because although there are some people who don't read it, romance readers are voracious. They read one book after
And
the
read.
next, after the next, don't they?
Yes, I think that reading, no matter what genre you read in, it's a form of escapism.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that romance is a happy genre and it allows people to feel good. So that's why people read it.
Do you think also it's because we like to recreate the euphoria you feel when you fall in love?
Oh, absolutely. Because every book has a different story, and you can learn to fall in love over and over again in all different ways.
That's a fantastic idea because, of course, we only live one life and we can't do that. But by reading different books, we experience what that might feel like, right?
Yes. And we get to experience so many different things. My books are set in Australia, for example. So you get to learn a bit about the culture, about the scenery. So because it's a form of escapism, you can go anywhere and do anything.
That's true, isn't it? Yes, because my books are set in Namibia, where I was born. And so...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so people can escape there. And it's partly why I love writing them. Because when I write them, I feel like I go back and spend time in the desert with people and animals and places I know. So it brings joy that way too. What do you think is the most important reason for people wanting to read romance? To look at more psychological reasons, more emotional reasons why people read romance over and over, so many, because there are people who read 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books per week.
I know that's nuts.
I don't know how they do it, but they do, apparently. What do you think it is that they are chasing? It must be something deeper, mustn't it?
I don't know. Maybe they're chasing the emotional connection they have with characters. There's so many things they could be looking for. Maybe they're just trying to escape their own lives. Maybe they're unhappy with their own lives and they're just trying to escape that and read romance because romance makes you feel good. Yes. It brings out the good in people.
It is something that has fascinated me for a long time because there's such a big thing about, well, I don't read romance. Some people say I don't read romance. And some people really look down at it, thinking that, romance authors are not really writers. But as you said right at the
it's just the same.
right at the beginning, you said it takes the same amount of time to write a romance novel as it does a novel in any other genre. And of course, that's true. And of course, you still have to devise a plot and characters and make it exciting and interesting. But would you agree that there is a formula, in a way, for writing romance? And that is both good and bad, because if you don't hit all the points that the readers expect you to hit, they don't recognize it as romance. Would you agree with that?
Yes. But I think that's the same with any genre. So in romance, you need to have like an inciting incident. You need to have a couple. They need to build their relationship, and then something needs to happen that threatens the relationship, but they work through it and then they live happily ever after, or happy for now. But if you look at other genres, they all have a formula to them. If you're looking at a crime novel, that has a formula too. You have the crime, you have the person solving the crime.
Right.
They hit obstacles throughout solving it, and in the end, they do solve it. So there's a formula to any genre.
Yes.
It's just recognising that there is a formula.
Is there anything else you want to talk to us about romance that particularly fascinates you? Something that you feel you want to explore as you write the romances that you do?
I think I enjoy the characters. I enjoy learning how the psychology of different characters, because every one of them is different. Just like in the world, we're not all cardboard cutouts. We don't all think the same. We develop over time and we learn different things. And that's what I like about writing romance and reading romance, to see how people change throughout the story.
Yes, it is fascinating, isn't it? Because I think we all change, and we change from moment to moment. For example, we've just had this interaction. We've never met each other before, but after our chat, neither one of us will be the same as we were before we started the chat, right? So even in this short space of time, we've changed. But of course, over a romance novel, you must see the changes happen for the protagonists, don't you? Much more specifically. So I want to touch also on the fact that you write young adult books. And I'm assuming there must be love in those books too, right?
Yes, there is. I don't like to say it's a different type of love, because often when people think about young adult and they talk about love, they think that it's frivolous, but it doesn't need to be frivolous. It's important to those characters at that time. And again, I deal with real life scenarios. So in Serendipity, the main character, her father has just passed away and her mother has a mental illness. But throughout that, she has love as well, and she learns that she needs to trust people and open up to people. She gets bullied, so that's another heavy element in the story, but she doesn't tell anyone about the bullying because she doesn't want to be a problem to anyone. So, and that develops as well.
Yeah, and that often happens in real life, where people don't say they're being bullied, with disastrous consequences sometimes.
Yes. And this nearly ended, in this story, it nearly ended in disaster as well.
Right.
So, and I think it's important to show those messages to young adults as well, so that they realise that maybe it isn't the best thing to keep quiet. Maybe we do need to open up and ask for help.
Right, and that we can get through it eventually.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I love that you say that relationships in young adult books aren't frivolous and that they should be taken seriously. I mean, we were all teenagers at some point in our lives, and your first love relationship, whether it is with a boy or a girl or your friends or whatever, it's so intense. I don't think we ever really experience such deeply intense emotions ever again as we grow older. Do you think so?
Correct. Oh, everything about young adults is intense. Their relationships are intense. Their schooling is intense. Everything around them, social media is intense.
Right.
So, yes, it's totally different writing young adult compared to adult.
Yeah. So how do you balance the two? I mean, because it is it's very different, as you said.
I just do them at separate times. I work on my adult ones and then I work on my young adult ones. I cannot do them at the same time.
So
Not right.
You put a different hat on.
I do. You have to change your mindset
Yeah.
completely.
Right.
Yep.
I would imagine.
Because with adults, they think a lot more. They
Right.
consider things a lot more, whereas young adults act a lot more.
Right.
That's their first thing. They act rather than, well, they do think.
Afterwards.
And lots of them are deep. I don't want to say that they just act irrationally,
Yeah.
but it's just totally different.
Yeah. That is very interesting. And I would imagine the two different genres that you write probably inform each other.
Yes, I would say so. For the adult ones, you have to think of them as a young adult as well, or a child as well, because everything that happens in your life influences you on the way.
Right, yes. And often your childhood is the culprit for your later behaviours.
Yes, absolutely. Just like serial killers, they don't just become a serial killer as an adult. They develop throughout their childhood,
Right.
And things happen that turn them into serial killers.
Yeah, yeah. Gosh, yes. A lot of food for thought there. How many books have you got out?
At the moment, I've got one book published. That is The Cat's Out of the Bag. I'm working on Let Sleeping Dogs Lie Now, and that will be published at the end of June. And my young adult, I'm still working through that. I'm sending it to another round of beta readers at the moment.
I love the titles. They're fabulous.
Thank you.
Really, really good.
I thought it would be nice to do something different. So, yes, all of them have animals in the title, except for the young adult. That's different.
Oh, right. Okay. That's wonderful. What's it called? The Young Serendipity, did you say?
Yes, that's right. Serendipity.
Yeah. And is that also going to be part of a series?
No, it's totally separate. This one I want to get traditionally published because I would like it to go into schools. And that's how you basically get into schools in Australia, by having traditionally published novels. It's because it portrays such an important message that I would like it to be part of a curriculum somewhere.
Yes, yes. I understand that completely because, the whole bullying thing is really important.
Yes.
For people to deal with at a younger age. Yes.
Yes, that's how I feel.
Yeah, because unfortunately, younger bullies grow up to be bigger bullies.
Exactly,
right?
Yes.
It doesn't stop when you leave school.
No, that's right. It just goes out with you into the world, into the workforce, into the families as well.
Yes, yes. I had such a wonderful time chatting to you, Cynthia. This was so interesting. Thank you. We've come to the end of our chat and it was so informative and lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed myself too.
Brilliant.